Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. I know, I'm like digging around under the tea. The tea, it gets everywhere, you guys. Look at this, it's like all over the place. So anyhow, welcome. We have tonight for our card, the card which I pull while I'm setting up for every reading, just to kind of bring in the energy that might be hanging out with us. We have the Prince of Wands. This is a potent energy. That's like the total word for it, potent energy. This is all about passion. It's the water of the fire, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, air of fire. And that means, right, this is not only passion, this is really happening in the mind, but also in the body and spirit. Okay, so it's like a full thing, a full experience. If that is love, if that is excitement for some kind of schooling or work, or something coming up, an event or whatever it is. Okay, you are fully locked in with this energy. You are about that life, right? So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna turn this thing here, and we're gonna give it a little knock, knock, knock. Okay, and we'll just lift this up and take a look. And so I want to go ahead and say thank you for deciding to click on this reading. It's always such an honor for me to be able to do these readings for you. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you are returning, super duper welcome. Welcome back, I should say. It's nice to see you again. And something that I don't mention a lot, but I want to start talking about it more in the readings. And this is really if you have any prayer requests. I know Paul has been doing it for a long time, and Paul over at Dove and Serpent Tarot, my husband, he does tarot readings over there. And if you haven't seen his channel or his readings, go check him out. But yeah, he asked for a prayer request, and you know what? I feel like I need to be on that more often, because so often when he has prayer requests, I am involved in the prayer process with him. We do this kind of as a team, as a couple working together to help lift the frequency, right? So if you do have any prayer requests, go ahead and put those in the comments. You can also email me if you don't feel comfortable putting it in the comments for the public to see. And my email is ulaishere@gmail.com. And you can see that in the description as well. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to start right here. We have, it looks like the side profile of a feminine person right here. You can see the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and this would be kind of, the hair would be up here, the head, and then kind of, I don't know, maybe hair kind of hanging down into here, and then the chin would be down in this area. Okay, so we have almost this, it reminds me of the wicked stepmother from Snow White, which I just saw with my my daughter the other day, actually, and was not aware of anything that was going on with the movie. So let me just say that before you make any comments. Oops, I hit the thing there. I didn't know. I don't keep up on these kinds of news dramas and things, but so the stepmom, right? This archetype of the other woman, or this the second, third woman coming in to take the spot of the loving mother. Oh, what a terrible, terrible archetype to find yourself in. Now, I'm not saying that you are this person by any means. I can't imagine Aquarius being a mean step-parent of some kind. No, but I do wonder if this is something that you experienced when you were younger. If maybe there was a situation, your parents divorced and, you know, everybody got remarried and, you know, so on and so forth. Or it could be that there was your father, presumably, or mother, it could be as well, was widowed, right? And your mother passed away, or one of your mothers. We're looking at all configurations here. So again, please, nothing in the comments, because I'll tell you what, if you want to hear my little rant, go over to my last Virgo reading, because I don't want to hear it. I'm going to be as inclusive as I want to be, okay? And nobody in the comments is going to bully me out of that. So it could be, right? And this person comes into your life and, you know, they keep up appearances. Probably somebody that people either love and they flock to, or they're afraid of and they serve, right? We've all known people like this. They get into little social clubs and involved in activities and this and that, and they take over everything. Right? They want to be the center of attention and the one holding the reins. And so I feel like there just was this disconnect between you and this person, this woman. And, you know, and I think that ultimately that was very painful, you know, whatever went on with them. Now, let me just say, it doesn't have to be that this is actually a stepmother. It could be like, you know, you couldn't stay with your parents. You went to go live with your grandparents and, like, you know, your auntie was really mean, or your grandma was really mean, or, you know, whatever. Whoever takes the place of the mother role for you, okay? And I think that ultimately, you know, ultimately, I feel like for you, it probably pushed you away from your family, at least when you were younger. I had this real sense of alienation, feeling quite othered, having to go out in the world and kind of find your own way, right? Which we all do, but some of us go out into the world injured, right? We're wounded. And we have to go out there and we have to figure things out for ourselves, because we don't have our mother. We don't always have our father, right? We might have other people in our lives, but there's something about these particular bonds and the things that we learn from our parents or our caregivers, or, you know, our adopted parents, or whoever it is, your main connection. And when we lose that, it can send you adrift, right? And I feel like that's kind of where this is going. The cruelty, but also feeling like you had to go out there and do things yourself. You don't want to ask for help, because what? This you know, almost kind of a caricature, right, of a person is just so, you know, HE double hockey sticks bent on making your life hard. And so I feel like you went off into the world. You went off into the world to do your own thing, to find your own life. And it wasn't easy, but you know what? I feel like, and I'm looking at this, I'm seeing all these little sad faces, but I feel like you were fortified in it. And that's so much of what the Wands energy is about as well, is being forged in the fires. Okay. Now we have the Grail up here, the Ace of Cups. We have a wishing bone. It looks like we have a smaller tree over here. So I feel like for you, it's almost kind of like you've had to make your own family. It's like you had to, you know, take one of the seeds from the tree that you come from, and you had to go off and you had to start your own because you feel really disconnected from where you come from. And unfortunately, it's almost kind of like this parasite of an individual that came in and, you know, really, and you're not the only one. I imagine this is a feeling throughout your family. If you have siblings, maybe even your other parent, you know, other family members that maybe were pushed aside to kind of make room for this new family that was growing. And you know, I feel like ultimately this person was probably pretty jealous, probably a pretty jealous person, and just made it almost impossible for anybody to have a relationship, you know, with your parent. And so, I'm sorry. It gives me, I'm like, I just feel anxious talking about this. My goodness. But I do feel that you have been so successful. Oh, and look at that. We have the satyr, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and kind of the little horns up here. So that's a forest spirit. And when I see the satyr, I know we're getting into that place of kind of hot and wild summer, right? Very bacchanalian. But I feel like there must be like I don't know, an anniversary, because there's like this push and pull emotionally, right? Where you don't want to dwell on this stuff, but it keeps coming up recently. And you're really looking forward to what's coming in this next cycle of, you know, of the seasons. And yet you keep getting pulled back. And there's a lot of arguing happening. You can see right up here, it looks like two people. Like this one has his head kind of down, arms up, just screaming. This even looks like it says W-A-R, war. We also have a crab, so I wonder if there is a Cancer or somebody who is like a crab involved. I don't think this is the direct person you're fighting with, but I do feel like they are involved in some way. And I'm pretty sure the arguments have been a lot about money. And I'll show you why. Because we have right here the fish, this large fish, okay? And the fish represents money. We also, it looks like a clown right here. Here's the nose and the mouth and the kind of weird hair on the side, the eye and the eyebrow. Side profile. So I feel like, I mean, I'm just like thinking like, okay, there's a lot of anger because resources have been squandered, just misspent, okay? I feel like you, Aquarius, yeah, you like to buy stuff, and yes, you like to have, I feel like a lot of Aquarius people are collectors for some reason. I feel like every Aquarius I know collects something or multiple things. So I don't know. You're not super frugal. Like you're not a Capricorn. You're not a Cancer. But you definitely pay your bills before you go spending other money, right? Like you're responsible. It feels like maybe your spouse or somebody else that lives in your home, your roommate, your, you know, grown child, teenager, adult, whatever they are, misspending, not paying their part of the bills, you know, like quitting jobs because they want to play video games or something. It just feels like there's no, you know, motivation. They are lacking the fire, where you have all of these hopes and dreams and aspirations. I feel like the big thing here is you have been wanting to buy a home maybe, or downsize, or move to a location that is going to be more useful for you. Maybe going somewhere like, you know, moving to the ocean, or moving to a city that has more of the things you need, or, you know, whatever it is. But I feel like every time you start to get serious about this, something happens with this other person, which totally screws things up and you get off course. And I feel like with the wishbone, there's just so much wanting and wishing and appealing that things get right. But I feel like you're really at the point where, you know, this might be the cutoff, at least financially. I do not think things can go on like they've been, at least in this sector of your being. I feel like the love has been fractured. We have a heart that's missing a whole section over here. You don't trust. You're not trusting them. So what do? We have a person sitting here beneath the moon. Okay, so what that tells me is it is time to decide what you want to do. It is time for you to go out on that night side beneath the moon and dream. And, you know, come up with the most fantastical things that you can imagine and start to manifest. Okay? You know, for me, I cannot believe how different my life is from 10 years ago. I don't even know that I could recognize myself from 10 years ago. You know, I remember how it felt, and I remember how much, you know, pain and trouble and just, you know, trying, like, scratching with my fingernails just to try to get somewhere with something, right? You know, I had recently been widowed. I was getting sober. I was starting over. I moved to a whole different area of the region I live in, from the city out to the very rural area. And my whole life changed, you know, and it took time, and it was very painful. And it, you know, there were times I just didn't know what to do with myself. But it is amazing what really what 1 year can do, you know, let alone a decade. So I see you really shooting for the moon and beyond, right? I don't know. I like to make goals that I can meet, or things that are even a little bit below, right? So I can do more, and then I feel good about myself. Even though I know this is how I do things, I still get stoked when I surpass my goals. But I feel like sometimes we have to dream big. We have to go for the thing that seems unreachable. We have to push ourselves. We have to try. See what could happen. I never really wanted to be a parent because I had such a hard childhood and life in general. It was difficult. Lots of stuff going on. And I didn't think that I would ever really want to be a parent. And you know, I had that, I was like around 33-ish, and I started to think, oh, well, what if I met somebody, you know? And by 35 or 36, I don't know, somewhere in there, maybe I have the dates. Within my early 30s, I was hoping maybe just a little, you know, I didn't even say it out loud because I didn't want to say it to anybody and feel ridiculous that now maybe I want to have a family. And then, so then a couple years later, here I am, I have a kid. And I realized, like, if I wouldn't have been open and, you know, done the hard thing, which is having the kid, right? I knew it was going to be difficult. It's going to be so much stuff I had to learn and figure out, and the emotions and a new person that I have to take care of and all of this. It was so scary. If you have kids, you know. It's the best thing that ever happened in my life. And honestly, being brave about that has made me brave about other things, like starting a business, getting, you know, buying a home. I was so I was probably more freaked out about the last one than having a kid. But, you know, you just sometimes have to look at, like, the box that we put ourselves in and think, you know what? I wasn't born to be kept in a box. I was born to bust out of this thing and grow towards the sky. You know, infinitely. My roots going down into the ground and taking hold, and my life becoming the garden that it is. But you have to have, like, that gumption, that bravery, that thing, that the fire. You have to have that fire to push yourself out of that box, right? Get yourself out of there. Keep going. And I see this being, this is going to be it for you. This is going to be that opening. This is going to be, you know, that transition that you have been looking for. Maybe that you didn't even know that you needed, but I think that this realignment of your life, a reconfiguration of life, it will change completely how you feel about everything. And I think that's what you want, a reset, you know? And I think that a lot of that is why this old stuff is coming up, like about growing up with somebody who was awful, and, you know, and the mistreatment and the pain that you felt and carry with you, you know. Oftentimes when we're getting into a place where we're transitioning through a rite of passage or into a new cycle of our life, a new era of our life, we have to work on some of those blockages that, you know, they get bigger and harder to look at sometimes too. But, you know, it's almost kind of like, you have to sacrifice your pound of flesh or whatever. You have to sacrifice these things that keep us stagnant, that keep us scared, that keep us, you know, prisoner in our own histories. We have to learn how to look at that. And I'm not saying let it go. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's about processing it. It's about integration. It's about realizing in totality what was really going on. Looking at it from as many perspectives as you possibly can muster. And when we do this kind of work, this is when we receive the key to the next door. This is how we get through. And so I do. I see this being the beginning. Also, moonflower. It's right here. You can see right here. Moonflower. Be careful if you have pets, though. They're really poisonous. But that will be a very lucky and sacred plant for you. Okay, so we have 102 as a number, 102 or 201. We also have a heart floating around right there. So yeah, maybe a little bit of love, lust, passion kind of beginning to swell up. It was floating around in the waters. So I do feel like it's not just an attraction or a lusting for something or somebody, but this is also emotional for you. I feel like that you are growing an emotional attachment with somebody or something. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I know it is hard for you, Aquarius, you're really good at connecting with people, and you're a great friend, and you love being, friendly with people and stuff. But when it comes to letting somebody in to that sacred space, that hidden part of self, very few will ever see that part of you. You protect it, as you should. And I think that whatever is brewing for you, if this is a new person, if this is a reunion, or maybe this is an existing relationship that, maybe has been suffering a little bit, but you're coming back together. Okay. All right. Now let's do our lucky numbers. Lucky numbers, lucky numbers. Whew. Number 66. Oh, geez. Today is just wild. Okay, what number is it? Number 9. Number 9. 66, 9, and 28. 28. That's my lucky number. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? Let's do our inner child oracle cards. Okay, and I'm going to flip through. Stop where it feels right. Number 14, flow with the rhythm. Get lost in the rhythm of movement today. Get lost in the rhythm of movement today. And then these are our Indigo Sage affirmation cards. And I'm just going to flip through here. They're very small, so it's hard to kind of... And I'll stop where it feels right. Ooh, an incense burner thing. Nice. I need to burn some frankincense now that we're opening all the windows every day. All right, 33. Sacred smoke, cleansing. With amazing strength and fluidity, your love is an interpenetrating power. Yeah. Let me look it up. It says to mix or merge together. Not a word you hear a lot. Anyways, yes, I do have to look things up constantly. I am no scholar. But 33, yes, what a wonderful number for the day. I know the day is good when the 33s come around. We are on the square today. All right. Aquarius, I love you. Thank you for being here with me. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Other than that, we'll talk in a few days. Take care of yourself, and good night.